How does a celebrity survive a national firestorm over a pair of jeans? It sounds like a ridiculous question, but in 2025, that's exactly what happened. For Sydney Sweeney, the answer was a masterclass in being completely and utterly unbothered. This is the wild story of how a simple pun in an American Eagle ad spiraled into a political meltdown that reached the highest office in the country. And, more importantly, it's the story of how one perfectly calm interview allowed Sweeney to turn the tables on the outrage and walk away without a scratch. This wasn't just about denim, it was about navigating modern fame, and she just wrote the new playbook. Before all the chaos, let's set the stage. By 2025, Sydney Sweeney was way more than just a rising star. With acclaimed Emmy-nominated performances in massive hits like Euphoria and The White Lotus, she had established herself as one of the most compelling and hard-working actresses of her generation. She wasn't just in front of the camera either. Through her production company, 50/50 Films, she was making serious moves, producing her own projects like the boxer biopic Christie, and proving she was a savvy Hollywood player who wanted control over her career. She was known for her intense dedication, her versatility, and a kind of no-nonsense girl-next-door charm that audiences just loved. So when American Eagle announced her as the face of their new campaign, it made perfect sense. The brand, a staple of millennial and Gen Z closets, was looking for a cultural boost. The campaign itself seemed straightforward. A return to classic denim with Sweeney as the effortlessly cool centerpiece. The tagline was simple, catchy, and on its face, totally harmless. Sydney Sweeney has great genes. In the ads, Sweeney delivered a short, playful monologue about genetics. Genes are passed down from parents to offspring, often determining traits like hair color, personality, and even eye color, she'd say, before cheekily adding, "My genes are blue." The word genes would get crossed out and replaced with jeans. It was a classic dad joke, a pun so obvious it was almost nostalgic. It was designed to be fun, a little flirty, and sell a whole lot of denim. But the internet, as it often does, had other plans. The backlash wasn't just swift, it was bewildering. Almost immediately, a faction of online commentators seized on the jeans pun, not as a lighthearted play on words, but as a sinister political message. The argument was that by centering a conventionally attractive, blonde-haired, blue-eyed white woman in a campaign about great genes, American Eagle and Sweeney were promoting a regressive and dangerous idea. Critics argued the ad was a dog whistle for eugenics, the discredited and horrific theory of improving the human race through selective breeding. On platforms like TikTok and X, the accusations exploded. The ad was called tone deaf, a promotion of white supremacy, and some even labeled it Nazi propaganda. These weren't just fringe comments. They were gaining serious traction, amplified by influencers and racking up hundreds of thousands of likes. The narrative was set. A beloved American brand was allegedly platforming deeply problematic ideas through one of Hollywood's biggest stars. This was no longer about a silly pun. It had become, in the eyes of its critics, a symbol of a cultural backslide toward exclusionary beauty standards. The story quickly snowballed from social media chatter into a full-blown culture war spectacle. News outlets began reporting on the outrage, and soon political figures weighed in, turning the absurdity dial to 11. President Donald Trump praised the ad on social media, and in comments to reporters, calling it the hottest ad out there after learning Sweeney was a registered Republican. Suddenly, a jeans ad was a talking point for the White House. The controversy had reached a level of surrealism that no marketing team could have ever predicted. Sydney Sweeney wasn't just selling jeans anymore. She had become an unwitting symbol in a polarized national debate. For months, as the firestorm raged, both American Eagle and Sydney Sweeney stayed mostly quiet. The brand released a brief statement clarifying that the campaign is and always was about the jeans. But Sweeney herself said nothing. The silence only fueled more speculation. Then, in a Men of the Year cover story for GQ, she finally addressed it. But if you were expecting a tearful apology or a defensive explanation, you were about to be sorely disappointed. The interview is a masterclass in narrative control. When the journalist, Catherine Stufel, brought up the controversy, and asked if the reaction surprised her, Sweeney's response was disarmingly simple. "I did a jean ad," she said with a slight smile. "I mean, the reaction definitely was a surprise, but I love jeans. All I wear are jeans. I'm literally in jeans and a t-shirt every day of my life." It's a statement of fact, delivered without a hint of defensiveness. She didn't engage with the accusations. She just restated the boring reality of the situation. Then she revealed why she was so disconnected from the uproar. At the time, she was filming the highly anticipated third season of Euphoria, working grueling 16-hour days. She told GQ, "I kind of just put my phone away. I don't really bring my phone on set, so I work and then I go home and I go to sleep. So I didn't really see a lot of it." This wasn't a celebrity hiding from accountability. This was a dedicated professional who was too busy with her demanding job to be consumed by online drama. It's an incredibly powerful position to take. She wasn't ignoring the world. She was just focused on her work. But the most pivotal moment came when the interviewer pressed further, framing the criticism more directly by noting that some believe white people shouldn't joke about genetic superiority in the current political climate. This is where many celebrities would stumble. Sweeney did the opposite. She looked at the interviewer, calm and confident, and delivered a line that shut down the entire conversation. "I think that when I have an issue that I want to speak about, people will hear." With that one sentence, she reclaimed her own agency. She made it clear she is a thoughtful person who will use her platform for issues she genuinely cares about. And a silly jeans pun just wasn't one of them. She simply refused to be dragged into a debate she had no interest in. It was a bold and, for many, a brilliant response. But what do you think? Was her unbothered attitude the perfect strategy, or did she miss an opportunity to engage with the criticism? Let me know your take in the comments below. So what happened after the dust settled? Did the outrage mob win? The answer, by every measurable metric, is a resounding no. In fact, the controversy turned out to be an accidental stroke of marketing genius for American Eagle. The endless discourse, the memes, and the political commentary gave the campaign a level of visibility it never would have achieved on its own. The result? American Eagle's stock price surged. Following the campaign's launch and President Trump's praise, the company's stock saw massive single-day gains, jumping over 20%. The company later credited the campaign with boosting sales, attracting hundreds of thousands of new customers, and contributing to better-than-expected revenue. The so-called Sweeney effect was real, and it was profitable. Sweeney herself emerged from the controversy not just unscathed, but with her public image arguably stronger. Her GQ interview was hailed as a mic drop moment, a lesson in how to handle a media pile-on without groveling or lashing out. She didn't play the victim. She didn't issue a hollow apology. She simply defined her own boundaries with a calm confidence that many found refreshing. By refusing to dignify the more extreme accusations with a direct response, she starved the outrage of the oxygen it needed to survive. She knew the ad was for great genes, and because she was secure in that knowledge, the online noise didn't seem to affect her one way or the other. She controlled the narrative by refusing to participate in the one being written for her. The great genes controversy of 2025 is a perfect parable for our times. It shows how quickly a lighthearted piece of pop culture can be twisted into a political flashpoint. But more than that, it's the story of a celebrity who faced a national outrage and chose not to fight, not to flee, but to simply work. Sydney Sweeney survived the firestorm by showing that the most powerful response to manufactured outrage can be a dose of reality and a quiet refusal to play the game. In a world of constant online battles, her unbothered strategy might just be the new blueprint for survival. She proved that while everyone else was arguing about her genes, she was busy building an empire.